Well, SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena is in studio with us to unpack the latest developments. Sophie, a very good evening to you. Look, a strong sentiment there, as you've just heard from Israel. Clearly, the South African government has touched a raw nerve here.
Yes, you are correct. You know that that was the intention, to ensure that Israel does appear before the International Court of Justice. I think in terms of the objective, South Africa has been able to achieve its objective to drag Israel before the International Criminal Court. When we talk about the aim to ensure that it is held accountable, therefore that process before the court will unfold, and we will see what will be the ruling from the court. But what I do know is that in terms of the objective, because it's a short-term goal, dragging them to the International Criminal Court, having Benjamin Netanyahu battling to try and manage the crisis and the PR in full swing, this is what's happening. And South Africa perhaps has been able to achieve its objective. The big issue is the aim. Will the court be able to issue a directive that Israel must stop with bombardment in Gaza? And this is what Benjamin Netanyahu is fearing. And right now we are told that there's a scaling down of the operations in Gaza. He may say that it is not based on this, but I am certain that it is because of this. And I think behind the scenes, countries that have been supporting Israel are now panicking, because they will have to come with evidence to support Israel, particularly countries that have been supplying Israel with arms, because these are the matters that will be kind of ventilated before the courts.
And Sophie, how do you think this is all going to play out, should it go to that hearing stage?
Well, I think South Africa will present a formidable case. We'll have to do that. The other issue that we must look at is that Qatar, that has been mediating between Hamas and Israel, have decided to also do a similar action, going to the International Court of Justice. You have Oman doing that. Now, the Arab nations and countries are embarrassed that a small country in the southern tip of Africa took this brave move. And therefore, many people and those in the Arab countries are saying, you have failed us as Arab League leaders. Now we are looking up to a small country like South Africa to intervene. And I think, based on the fact that when the United Nations was formed after the Second World War, these institutions were established to resolve the conflicts and the world problems. And South Africa, using the means that are available internationally, not pushing for confrontation and war. I think South Africa now, it is a big story internationally. The question is, will South Africa be ready to put a formidable case? And I think we are going to see more countries from the south, because you know we have the south and the north, developed north and the developing south. The developing south is going to rally behind South Africa. I expect more countries supporting South Africa. I think even behind the scenes, they are already calling President Cyril Ramaphosa, his counterparts from the south in particular, and those who are sympathetic to Palestine, to express their support to South Africa to continue with this big case.
And Sophie, do you know if a date has yet been set for the hearing?
The breaking news is that the spokesperson of the International Relations, the department, Leison Munyela, has just posted on his social media that the International Court of Justice has chosen the 11th and the 12th of January, that is next week, to hear the matter, because Israel was claiming that they have preempted this by going before the International Court to explain themselves so that the court doesn't make a ruling against them. But we are told by South Africa that actually, the court had decided that on the 11th and the 12th of January, this matter will be before the courts. And Clayson saying that as we speak now, the legal team of South Africa, I think including international support, is gathering evidence. They are working on papers. You know that amongst them you have Ngugai Toby. And I think tomorrow I have spoken to the Department of Justice. They indicated that they will avail someone who can speak on behalf of the legal team to give us a gist of what will be the argument. But the good thing is that in Netherlands, at The Hague, you have a South African ambassador who is a former DG of the Department of Justice. So he's got a strong legal acumen and also familiar with these kinds of issues. And therefore, the ambassador will come handy in terms of helping the team.
All right. And Sophie, now that Israel has agreed, what happens now? Because as we know, as widely reported, the ICJ is the UN's highest court, but the judgments from there are often ignored.
The judgments can be ignored, but the reality is this is an embarrassment to Israel, because you must remember, when you appear in court, sometimes what counts is what's being said in court. And you can imagine what kind of evidence is going to be placed before the courts. And I think South Africa, as we speak, they are interacting with stakeholders to get more evidence and information. There's this outstanding matter of what transpired on the 7th of October when Hamas attacked the citizens of Israel during that concert and moving to other areas where you have the Israelites. And therefore, I think there's this notion that as they went on to try and hit at Hamas, something happened there. So these are kinds of issues that are going to be ventilated in court in the glare of cameras. And I can tell you, this is going to be the biggest case post World War II in terms of a genocide leveled against a country, because the International Court of Justice deals with countries, not individuals. The matter of individuals like your IDF generals, perhaps Benjamin Netanyahu, that will be a matter for the International Criminal Court, that is the ICC. Mm-hmm. And we know that already South Africa has also requested the ICC to bring Israel before the ICC to answer. And of course, here it will be directed at individuals. So I think South Africa has done something huge, and the reaction globally a few minutes ago speaks to where we are now with this matter of Israel and Palestine.
Thank you so much for that update. SABC News International Editor there, Sophie Mokoena, on the latest developments there with South Africa applying to the ICJ. And as you've heard from Mum Sophie, she says the date has been set for that hearing on the 11th as well as 12th of January.